All right, we're live. It is Sunday evening here in the Central Zone, and I'm coming to you tonight. We definitely had some developments over the weekend. Two of them in crude, well, one for the general economy, and then I wanted to update natural gas. So, crude oil gapped up, and the reason I think it did is mainly because the Saudis raised oil prices export to China and the U.S. over the weekend. So, in some sense, it's confirmation that they don't really see Omicron as a game changer, as a showstopper. So, anybody look at that, it's a bullish. It's hard to not to interpret that bullishly. So, I think that's the majority of why crude is up. But it's closed over. It's back above the 50-hour moving average. So I'm extremely bullish on this. I actually got into the option. What did I go for? Yeah, sorry about this. Let's see. That's not it. Just 1 second here. Okay, 1 more second. Paper trades. All right. So entered 10. This is trade number 12. Entered 10 $71 calls. CLF 222. Oops, move this over and got in at 36 cents. All right. So I think that is a great deal. We're at a 52% implied volatility, but I think that the chance of the likelihood of significant snapback rally is good. So just when I think about that from just a gut feeling, $71 is here. So whether we actually crack 71 or we just get close to it and the delta goes up, I'm willing to make a trade of it. That's a 22.8 delta. So they're saying the market is saying there's only a 22% chance, 23% chance that crude finishes the week above $71. I'm calling bullshit on that. I think it's way higher. I've talked a lot about my reasoning for that, but it's largely has to do with the crude S&P ratio being so far above recent values that even a retracement to the 200-day moving average at a 4,500 level puts us at 72.50. Okay, so we're also further away from the 50-day moving average than we basically ever have been. Well, that's not true, but in this setup with the 50 so far above the 200. So to me, the chance that now, is it going to be like a one-way shot up there? Maybe it actually could be. We could have a huge up day. I wouldn't be surprised to see an enormous rally. And I want to take part if that happens. If not, I still think that at some point, we get to a point where we can take some good profits on this trade. The other one that I want to, so the other piece of research that came out over the weekend was a piece, and it was anecdotal evidence, but it's from South Africa, indicating that Omicron is indeed extremely transmissible, but it's actually a good thing because the disease is milder. So this strain is producing a more mild outcome amongst the population. Now, this is anecdotal. It's based on clinicians, individual clinicians, personal interpretation, but they've been through 3 waves of COVID, the original, the alpha wave, and the delta wave, right? So these are people who've seen COVID, and they know when you have a COVID ward, what percentage is usually using supplemental oxygen, that sort of thing. And they're saying this wave is better. There's much less comorbidity. There's much less seriousness of illness. People are getting out of the hospital in 2.8 days instead of 8.5 as an average. So that's really good news. It's not conclusive. There's all sorts of things that could kind of turn that around and make it not accurate. For one thing, the age of the population is much lower. But initial indications are that Omicron might actually be a Christmas miracle. It could quickly spread around the entire globe and give 99.5% of the people, well, I'm not going to give a number, could quickly spread around the world and give a large percentage of the people it infects essentially a cold and some extreme fatigue. Apparently, it feels like a really bad hangover for 2 days. We all know that COVID feels differently for everybody. It's one of the most variable illnesses out there in terms of how people react to it. But again, on average, and amongst the people who have an adverse outcome, wind up in the hospital, the seriousness of the hospitalization is lower. So that is not only good news for our society and the world, but it's also good news for crude oil, because it means that the travel bans probably won't last long. So I think crude oil back. Honestly, I continue to say crude oil at $100, $150, $200 is believable. The fact that Omicron is not as bad as thought, is it as big a deal for the stock market? Debatable, right? I mean, this is a weak chart. This is a triple bottom. We violated. We're still in negative gamma. So what are the implications for the stock market? I would say ambiguous at this point. I do think that we will see a relief rally at some point this week before we plunge. I'm returning to that, favoring that as the baseline thesis. So short term, right now, if you've watched my channel, you know that if I'm going to be bullish between crude and S&P, which are both risk assets, I'm going to pick crude at this particular juncture. So I'm not going to be trying to go long the S&P. I will be looking for places to short it because on the balance of probabilities, I still think that we could get a nasty sell-off in the S&P, in the short term. It's something to watch, though. I'm willing to change that view, actually. I don't feel as strongly about that as I did last week. So I'm going to put that as like the crash. I'm putting it back to like a 60% chance. I think I had it up to 65 or 70. I'm putting it back to 60. Lastly, natural gas. So I had a buy signal on Friday, but I didn't want to worry about it over the weekend. And the sell tails at the bottom of a huge sell-off in natural gas in December. I'm sorry, I meant to be a daily. So this last bar right here, that is, I'm calling this a sell tail, where it rallies and then falls off. At the bottom of a huge sell-off, that would normally be bullish. In December, when weather plays such a big factor, that I don't know what that is. I think it's actually bearish, but I wasn't clear on it. So the determined selling in the day sessions that I've been referencing just wasn't enough of a factor for me to be willing to sit on it over the weekend. And thank goodness, because these 450 calls are basically halved in value over the weekend. That's not a good way to start your week. So looking specifically at these 450s, over here, they're at 10 cents. They closed last week at 20.1 cents. So yeah, we're almost exactly at half of what they were. Note also that the vols came off 7 points. That alone, so the price came down, the vols came down, and time passed. So, if you were holding those over the weekend, you lost on Delta because the price came down. You lost on Charm because we had 2 days of decay, and you lost on Vanna because the implied vols came down, 7 vols. Okay, so that would have been brutal. Even something like crude oil, where it's up $1.50 over the weekend. Well, okay, but IVs came down three vols, and you lost some money due to Charm over the weekend. So if you'd gotten into that before the weekend, which I actually did, so I actually did get into that before the weekend, and it didn't really get that much better of a price. Actually, I probably could have gotten the exact same price on the open this evening. So yeah, not a huge fan of being in these commodities over the weekend, with some notable exceptions, but we'll get into that another time. All right, that's all for tonight, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's going to be a bullish week for energy. I think we have yet to see whether it'll be bullish for the stock market. And I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to be a great week. Wishing you all the best, whoever's watching this. I appreciate you tuning in and wish you the best of luck. Cheers. Leave a comment below if you'd like. Bye-bye.